All right, MMA Maniacs, it's time once again, your post-Thanksgiving split decision episode. Hope you all had a good holiday.
Oh,
We're going
I
to get into
can't
some
believe
news
it.
here.
Oh.
My pants don't fit anymore.
It's not over when I'm full. It's over when I hate myself.
When I hate myself. I haven't taken
Good
my
old
post-Thanksgiving
Louis
poop yet, so we'll see what happens. So, yeah, man, we're going to get into it, bring you some news and things of that nature. Recap. We got a recap, right?
Yeah, there's a recap.
Yeah, and then that's kind of just how we're rolling today. So no fights to look forward to immediately. We'll get into those next week.
Yes.
And make sure you get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Of course, iTunes if you subscribe. Then it gets pushed right to your device. You won't miss it. Also, our official website, which is splitdecisionmma.com. Find us on Facebook, which is Split Decision MMA Podcast. Give us a like. And on Twitter and Instagram, SD_MMA. And AmericanaMMA.org.
Yep.
Still giving us love, so we'll give them love back.
Yep.
AmericanaMMA.org for all of your fight apparel needs. Let's go ahead and jump into it, man. What's happening?
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke is happening.
Mickey Rourke is happening. He just had his first boxing match since 1994.
20 years.
20 years later. He won. Knockout. Second round.
That's crazy to me.
Knocked
dude.
out Elliot Seymour in Moscow, Russia.
That's even crazier to me. They wouldn't have fought somebody in Russia.
He's put together pretty well. I mean, he like I said, he was former Golden Gloves champion. He has a record of 7-0-2. He does have 2 draws on his record. There's a lot of things that he was at one time. He was a trainer for some of these guys. Actually, that's how he got into movies. Is he was a trainer for actors.
Oh, for boxing?
From boxing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, pretty cool.
He does a lot of weird things, man. Like when he was preparing for the Iron Man role, when he like stayed in a Russian prison.
Yeah. Maybe that's where he got his Russian contacts to do these boxing things.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that they had he was pretty muralized as they were bringing him into the ring. I mean, he's like the David Hasselhoff of Russia.
Makes sense.
Pretty big over here. Yeah. So he could actually beat up Iron Man in real life.
Probably, yeah. Probably beat up Robert Downey. I don't know though. Doesn't he do boxing too or something?
I don't know.
Jiu-jitsu, something?
I thought he just looked pretty.
That's possible.
My money would be on Rourke.
Oh, I think it'd be on.
I would definitely bet on Rourke.
and the team that could rebuild Rourke, because obviously, I mean, he actually is the real life Iron Man.
Well, kind of. I think he's a real life Marv.
Yeah,
And I think Marv might be able to beat up Iron Man.
Possibly.
Could be an interesting fight.
That'd be interesting. Another little bit of recent. We have Ronda Rousey is referenced in the new Eminem song. I don't know if you saw this or heard this or
not.
Everything online. And the lyrics go, and so people don't know how to take this. They don't know if it's an insult or if this is a compliment. So the lyrics go, he says, "I've got a Magic Johnson. It's like a magic wand, allows me not to let a blonde arouse me. If Ronda Rousey was on the couch with the condoms out, holding 1,000 magnums at once to pounce me, I'd laugh in response to how she dances and flaunts it around me. Her flat little badonkadonk is bouncing around, and all I see is Paul Malignani. She's a slaughterhouse in a blouse."
Okay. He made a lot of rhymes.
Yeah.
in all actuality, it's a pretty lazy rap. No, it honestly is. I mean, the beats and everything that are behind it are pretty lazy. Mm-hmm. I think it was perfect to get him back into where he needs to be.
This isn't his freestyle, is it?
No, that was the cipher that was earlier. A little bit earlier, a couple months ago. This is just going to be off the new. The new album is going to be a mixture of basically classics that he already has, and then it's going to be new artists. And it's not his classics. Like everybody that's on his record label, all of their classics on one disc, and they're going to do together a disc of things.
But is he going to rap on it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
This is one of them.
All right. Well, because his freestyle thing was like, I'm just rhyming words that rhyme with words.
That's kind of what this is. Like
you
you could just change the background music for whatever group you're with.
Yeah.
So Ronda Rousey was on Jimmy Kimmel. She says she doesn't think that it's insulting. Even if she doesn't care. She's like, I'm obviously relevant enough to Eminem is rapping about me, so that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, calling her a slaughterhouse in a blouse, I don't think that's insulting. I think that's complimentary.
That's pretty complimentary.
But saying he would laugh at her launching her flat badunkadunk.
I think I don't know. Like reading it to me is he's saying obviously he's like I'm not gonna fall into the trap of women. You know what I mean? He's saying I don't even care if it's Ronda Rousey sitting on a couch with a bunch of condoms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even then, I would still look at her as if this other boxer, this guy's a pro boxer. You know, it would be my mind so solid that I would just see a dude. I wouldn't have to worry about her.
What would Freud say about that?
That he sees dudes.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I find insulting in there is the flat little badonkadonk, because we've seen her in spandex. It's not flat. It's pretty nice, actually.
So I don't know. Like I said, Ronda Rousey being further pushed into.
Well, that's what Chris Kirkpatrick said too. I mean, Chris Kirkpatrick was like, yeah, I don't like that Eminem doesn't like me, but again, if he's mentioning me in his songs, that's cool.
Yeah, sweet.
Right.
I've made it.
I think everybody understands there's no such thing as bad publicity, especially if if Eminem's spitting your name. I mean,
what Eminem makes me laugh about the most, and this is way off topic, is that he never picks on anybody tough. Not saying that Ronda Rousey isn't tough, but the idea of him picking on a girl is like, well, that's never going to happen. You know what I mean? Chris Kirkpatrick, nothing's going to happen there. And it's funny to me. I'm not saying anything bad, but it's like he's not calling out the game. You know what I mean?
Didn't Moby actually threaten him?
No, he threatened Moby.
Okay. No,
Moby doesn't threaten anybody. Moby's peace, love.
A little more beef that we had. This is going on Twitter. This I thought was hilarious. This is Sheamus from the WWE, who is a Irish-born wrestler. He's also plays up the character very much for WWE against Conor McGregor.
It's a crowd favorite, right?
Which is kind of funny. So they asked him. Somebody recently asked McGregor, if you and Sheamus were to get in a fight, who would win? And he says, I would whoop his ass. It'd be no contest. Which is what he always says, no contest.
Yeah.
So Sheamus immediately got on Twitter and said, Conor wins. I don't hit featherweights or shoeshine boys. Mouth off to Brock Lesnar, fella. I'm injured.
Nice.
Conor shoots back with Brock Lesnar fought pure phony. Me and Brock versus you and any schmuck of your choice. Celtic phony tag team. JR's barbecue.
What?
Sheamus returns. He had bigger dumps after a salad than you. You can hold Brock Lesnar's WWE title while the big boys duke it out. Win a UFC title first. Gregor responds, careful, McScaldy. You will wake up with no teeth and your nose on my mantle. Celtic phony. Never fought. Sheamus responds, phony, haha. The last lad you knocked out went down on the breeze of a punch. Never connected. Conor McGregor says, never connected sounds to me more like your game. You can wear ball stragglers and slap men's asses for a living.
All right.
Sheamus responds, whereas you talk for a living, son, we all know whose ass you're kissing nightly. Little man, big chip. And then Conor McGregor says, I'll whoop you at your own game, then we can toast whiskey and talk about fighting. Always remember, UFC is real as it gets. And Sheamus responds, whiskey in Dublin this Christmas, notorious MMA, shirts on the deck, back to back, we'll fight everyone, traditional Irish Christmas.
Oh, so now they're friends at the end.
Now they're friends at the end.
I don't whoop you at your own game, so Conor McGregor's going to do fake fighting?
Possibly? I don't know. Maybe?
I don't understand.
This is just two typical drunk Irishmen.
It's like they do got this drunk throughout the conversation.
But they do this at the bar.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They just started talking trash, and then it's like, we're best friends! Fuck everybody else!
Let's go ass to ass at a bar and fight people. Isn't that kind of what he said?
Something like that, yeah.
Like
with no shirts on.
With no shirts on. It was like the end of Requiem for a Dream right there.
Calm down, Eminem.
I don't know if it's quite like that.
I don't know.
I don't know what movie you saw.
Conor McGregor could be Jennifer Connelly. Just a bunch of old business and throw money at them. Dana White will be there.
You wouldn't be throwing money?
What happened?
I wouldn't afford a ticket to go there.
What just happened?
UFC 183, we got another fight that's going to be going down. This is going to be the New Year's card.
New Year's card.
We got Joe Lauzon going against Alaquinta.
I always like seeing Joe fight.
Yeah.
How do you think Alaquinta's going to be doing?
I thought
Alaquinta impressed me this last fight he was just in.
Yeah, okay, all right.
He stepped it up.
Yeah?
Alaquinta, yeah.
I mean, I like Iaquinta. I think I liked him going into that fight, too. And anytime Joe Lauzon fights anybody, it's going to be an exciting fight. I mean, he gets fight of the night all the time.
This last one kind of struggled through, didn't he?
Who? Lauzon?
I don't remember.
Didn't they go all three?
I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look that up. Another fight, though, is going to be going down for the UFC in Sweden. We have Ryan Bader up against Phil Davis. This is actually a fight I want to see. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an exciting fight, but this is actually a fight I want to see
It's not going to be exciting at all.
Where they kind of land. You know what I mean?
These are two guys that are down on their luck from their last couple of fights, and yeah, I think it's going to be boring as hell.
You're not happy about it?
I'm not saying I'm not happy about it. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It actually makes sense that they're fighting each other. They're fighting each other for gatekeeper status, apparently. But whatever.
Gegard Mousasi. Last year, I don't know if you guys remember this. Last year, somebody robbed his house, took his PS4, took his Beats headphones.
Good. Beats suck. Go get Bose.
Whoa. All right, Mr. Sponsor.
They're just they suck. Beats headphones are terrible.
This year, however, they stole his car. He tweeted a picture, said, "For the jerk who stole my car yesterday, I wish I was fighting you in Sweden. We live in an excellent place. Bad people can be found anywhere. He will be fighting Dan Henderson January 24th from Sweden." I feel bad for anybody that steals Gegard Mousasi's car and he finds.
I think it's probably Conor McGregor punking him.
Something. I think it's the same people who robbed his house.
Same people.
They probably came back with the car key.
They had the key.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Probably someone who fights in the UFC and just like, let's just fuck with them.
Yeah.
Just every year we're going to do a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further.
Next year they give him back his car with all his shit in it.
Next year they go to kill his dog. That's just too far.
That's just too far.
They're just going to steal it.
Steal the dog.
Another fight going down the UFC 183. We have Ian McCall and John Linklater. This fight will actually happen. This fight was supposed to happen the last pay-per-view. Remember, Ian McCall had a blood disorder. Some sort of weird... Yeah, he had some sort of weird infection that he was unable to...
I'm glad they were able to turn it around.
Now it's going to happen. So I'm excited, especially because of the trash that Ian McCall was talking about. Linklater doesn't like his face. He just wants to beat him up. Like all this kind of... It's good to see this fight actually going to be happening somewhat soon.
It's funny.
And then, that's really not a whole lot going on in the news right now as far as from last week to this week, other than we got the recaps of the show, we got recaps of the fight.
With the show, I did see a picture. Cocky McDickfuck is training at Extreme Couture now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I wonder how that's going to work out for her.
I don't
know. We did have our fight, Asili Daly, who was the Irish-born fighter, go up against Jessica Penne. That's very close to the ranked 4 and 5, sitting at right there in the rankings as far as the strawweight division goes. It was pretty good. Back and forth fight. Ended up going to a third round to make the final decision. Jessica Penne getting the win and moving on to the semifinals. She will either be fighting Carla Esparza or Tisa Torres in her semifinal bout. Wasn't a whole lot on the show to really talk about. I mean, we had Conor McGregor showed up and hung out with Elisa Daly because he was in town doing press.
Nice. That's cool.
So he got to see her, and that's a training partner of his. So got to say hi and meet some of the girls, and that was pretty much all they really showed. The fight was pretty good. It was pretty close back and forth.
Did they have subtitles for him when he was talking?
No, they were good.
No, but he was still talking about
Diaz.
He was fighting Poirier, right?
Yeah, that was the time when he was doing the press for Poirier.
Yeah, Poirier.
So this obviously it's something that's we talk about anyway. That's already pre-taped.
So are we seeing the Tisha Torres, Carlos
Esparza?
Yeah, that's next week. I don't know.
That'll be Wednesday.
He closed the window. That's next week, and the one after that is 2 weeks from now. Or are they doing both in 1 week?
I don't know. I haven't seen if they're going to do both in 1 week. Okay. Usually when it comes down to the last two, they do both in 1 week, and then the last episode will lead into the
possibly
finale.
3 episodes from now we're going to see.
Yes.
Okay.
Quite possibly.
Cool.
So then did you guys get to watch Edgar vs. Swanson? Big night of fights over on Fox Sports 1?
I wasn't home.
The whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for the Fight Pass. You got to watch Fight Pass, huh? You stole Matt's again? That's nice.
I still can't believe how the main event ended.
I can.
Well, I'm just saying 4 seconds.
I can.
He was worried about his jaw. He did not want another broken jaw.
So we'll go with starting off the card. Doho Choi taking out Juan Manuel Puig.
Fast.
First round, 18 seconds. Korean Zombie 2.0 just goes in there and throws the leather, man. Paige Van Zant surprised me. She took out Kaylin Karan in the third round, TKO punches.
That's cool. So she's a real deal then.
She is the real deal.
Lost her shit.
Yeah, she went crazy all over. She also won her bonus. They got fight of the night, so she got an extra $50,000.
Can you believe people are mad about that? That a fight, they were like, can you believe a Fight Pass got the bonus? I'm like, why does it matter who it was?
Matter.
Doesn't matter where they place.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you won't be seeing her on Fight Pass next time, guaranteed.
No.
That would have been one of those ones like when we were there.
Yeah.
We'd have been getting a beer or something, and everybody went, ooh! And we were like, oh, shit!
Akbar Areola over Yves Edwards. Armbar, first round. Yves Edwards, man, does not have it anymore.
No, dude, he's
looking old.
Yeah.
He was very sluggish.
It was funny, though, because I mentioned I was watching it at the bar, and one of the other guys that's working there, and I was like, Yves Edwards, man. I go, he's getting up there, though. He's getting pretty old. And they're like, oh, how old is he? I'm like, oh, he's like 36. And this lady next to me turned and goes, 36 is old. She got like super upset. I'm like, for the sport, we were having a conversation. You were not in it. For the sport, he is old. He has like 50-something fights. She's like, oh, well, context would be nice. And I'd be like, if I was talking to you, you would have context.
Yeah. You weren't eavesdropping.
Yeah, because you don't look a day under 40.
Yeah. James Vick over Nick Hine, unanimous decision. Roger Navarez over Luke Barnett, the split decision. Ruslan Magomedov over Josh Copeland, unanimous decision.
I couldn't believe he couldn't finish Copeland.
I know, really.
I don't know. Is all that extra skin Copeland had? That's he looked. If you would have,
he definitely would have used to fight at a weight class above.
All he needed was some duct tape over his belly button and one black eye.
It'd be King Hippo.
Yeah, King Hippo.
I don't know. Josh Hayes always to me is the King Hippo from Ultimate Fighter 3. Mm-hmm. He was the guy who had the extra tire every time.
Yeah. Well, Copeland he just had a partial tire.
Yeah, this guy had the full thing. I mean, it was like
real quick before we move on. Do you think that Yves Edwards is going to be Hall of Fame material? Just for what he did early on in the sport?
I gotta believe he's like one of the undisputed, never crowned lightweight champions. And we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, no, we do.
At the time when there wasn't a lightweight division, he was still in there fighting all over the world, including the UFC. And he should have been champ. I mean, at one point he should have been.
He should have had a belt at some point, but that's what I'm asking. Do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame for that?
He could be like, if you've ever been to the baseball or football, he could be one of those people where there's pictures of him.
Yeah.
But there's no actual plaque for him.
Yeah. They don't get the bronze statue, but there's like, this guy was important.
Right.
You only know who he is if you know who he is.
I don't have his name.
I don't have his name.
And next time you're at a Sports Hall of Fame thing, do that. Look at how many people you're like, oh, and like you'll only know. But anybody who doesn't know anything about him, they're like,
just has
why
a
is
name.
that guy there?
Yeah, it just has a name. You're like, who the hell's Yves Edwards?
Yeah.
What? Why is this picture here? Where's his plaque? Can I see
a ref
his
or
record?
something, wasn't
He was a fighter.
Matt Winman over Isaac Villiflag.
Good for Wyman.
Wyman coming in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years dry.
Of ring rust, and he looks pretty damn good.
Good for him.
He definitely seemed to ride out that last round, in my opinion. And he definitely seemed to frustrate Villiflag quite a bit.
Well, after 2 years, I mean, I guess you don't want to push it too hard. If you already got the fight won, you don't want to.
They were still talking trash after the fight. It seemed like.
He busted his yoke in the first. So I mean, and look at the score. It tells you what happened. You know.
Yeah.
He was like he was doing well, and then he went downhill.
Joseph Benavidez over Dustin Ortiz. I was surprised he didn't put Dustin Ortiz away.
Going all the way to decision.
All the way to decision. Oliski Oliek over Jared Ralshaw. Knockout. Hell of a knockout, too. Yeah. I mean...
Very nice.
Very nice. Chico Camas over Brad Pickett. Split decision.
Damn it, Brad.
Did you think Pickett should have won that fight? Or were you happy with Chico winning?
I don't know. I'm with the split decision. I mean,
it was
you could have scored it either way. You could have done it.
I think Chico did enough. I mean, I was rooting for Pickett, so of course I wanted to see Pickett win, but I think Chico could easily did enough. And obviously, the score. Edson Barbosa over Bobby Green. I think I texted you this after that. You could tell he's been training with Diaz brothers because...
it's ridiculous with how many times can you wipe off a punch?
Yeah, he puts his hand down around his waist, and he's trying to stalk the guy. And when Barbosa's circling, landing shots, he's just like, nah, man, that don't hurt. Nah, man, that don't hurt.
Still scoring points.
You're scoring, dude. You're not getting any points.
It took him so long to lift his hands at one point. It went from punches to where he shook his head at him like, hit me, and then he kicked him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even defend the kick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Edson Barbosa definitely getting the unanimous decision win over Bobby Green. I understand you wanted to train with the Diaz brothers, but like I told you, Diaz brothers is great. I love them here. From the 209, I like their styles, but at the same time, they don't win decision fights. They will lose a decision fight every single time.
Right.
Unless they can get off in the early end and knock them out or put up enough punches to put the damage in the later rounds, they're not going to win a decision. They're never going to win a decision.
I was going to say, the Diaz brothers can't pull off their own style, then neither can you.
Yeah, and it really showed. It wasn't the same Bobby Green, in my opinion. Bobby Green used to be really tenacious. He used to use his wrestling quite a bit. He definitely was trying to stand and trade like the Diaz brothers. Definitely was trying to be like, oh, your punches don't hurt me. I can take whatever. Yeah, in a street fight, that looks great. But in the UFC, you're not going to win fights.
It's not World Star, man.
Yeah, it's not. And that's the thing. It's he's yelling at Barbosa, oh, you ran for me. You ran for me. Yeah, but he also won the fight. So...
Yeah, and the ring controls, like a fight with that, it's hard to determine who's really controlling the ring.
Yeah.
Because there's people who like to be backed into a corner, and there's people who like to back people into a corner.
Yes.
It's and I don't know if you adopt that style to where you're at, like, oh, I'm in a corner, this is what I want.
Bro, you never want to be backing up. Even if it's your style to get backed up into a corner, it doesn't look good. So unless you can make it work for you, you're going to lose the fight with the judges, period.
Right.
So where does Bobby Green go from here?
Did you call him a gringo?
Where does Bobby Green go from here?
That would be an Irish cop. Bobby Gringo.
I like that. I mean, he just got to stay around the middle of the division, I guess, and just fight. He's only fighting for paychecks anyway, so I don't think he cares.
And he was talking about walking away anyway.
Yeah. But, I mean, I like I said, getting so high up, having the streak that he had, it's just sad to see him kind of, I don't know, switch his whole game plan for one fight.
Well, maybe he'll learn that. We've seen this happen before, too, where they learn something different.
They try something different.
Oh, that's not a good idea. Let's go back to what works.
But on the flip side, what did this do for Barbosa? Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, not a whole lot. I mean, definitely I still keeps him in contention. I think still keeps him in the upper 10s, upper maybe, lower 5s.
Yeah, and then like this next fight.
Yeah, and then we have our main event. You had Frankie Edgar go up against Cub Swanson, and Frankie Edgar dominated the entire fight.
Yeah.
The entire fight from bell 1 to the finish of the neck crank at 4:56 with 4 seconds to go in round 5. He dominated the fight.
I'm eating crow on this one big time.
And Frankie proved that the reason why he's a champion. And he's done this time and time again, where he's dominated guys by taking them down, ground and pound, taking them out on the feet, ground and pound, taking them out. I mean, it was rinse and repeat the entire time. Once he got him on the ground, Cub had nowhere to go. And Cub bucked and turned and switched and tried to do all these different things. It did not matter. Frankie always got back on top and always was throwing the elbow in his face. Put a pretty good cut on him. And then it ends up choking him out with the neck crank. I mean,
I saw none of it. I just saw the 4 seconds left in the.
Do you give
match.
Frankie Edgar another title shot against Aldo, or do you think?
Or do you wait?
If
McGregor wins, then you make him fight McGregor.
But how does McGregor have to win in a stylistic fashion to he automatically jump and get that title shot? Or if he gets a unanimous decision, are you going to give it to Frankie over McGregor? I mean, he's fighting Dennis Sever. Where does Dennis Sever do for his record? Yes, he says it's going to be a guaranteed win, all this stuff like that. But if he finishes him in 30 seconds, a minute, if in first round, second round, are you impressed that he finished Dennis Sever? Or are you more impressed that Frankie Edgar dominated Cub Swanson, who's on a 6-fight win streak, for 5 rounds and finished him with 4 seconds to go?
Well, or do you make them fight each other before the title?
Yeah. What about Chad Mendez? He's still sitting up there. Yes, he just lost, but does he get to fight anybody in this? Is he fighting Frankie? Is he fighting Cub? Is he fighting Conor?
You know that in the end, the UFC is going to go for the money.
Oh, of course.
And right now, the money's still with Conor McGregor.
But again, do you think the money's still with Conor McGregor if he has a disappointing win? Even if his win is a win. I mean, we're already considering he's going to win.
Right.
Even if it's, like I said, if he goes to unanimous decision, he can't finish Dennis Sever. Are you still think that's going to be a money fight? You still think that everyone's going to be like, Conor McGregor's amazing when he couldn't finish a guy? That he was supposed to, that he's been talking about, that everybody's kind of overlooking for him anyway?
We got to wait and see what happens with that. But no, I mean, obviously if he doesn't, he's got this love because he's been destroying everybody. So if he goes out there and isn't able to destroy Dennis Sever, who's really,
who's only in 1.9 seconds of their commercial.
That's funny.
I'm going to put that up. I'll show you guys that here in a minute.
So who's in your pool? Like, give me the 5 that's in the pool for contention right now. I mean,
Chad Mendez, even though he still lost.
Okay.
I thought he fought a pretty good fight. I thought he did a good job.
Okay.
Definitely Frankie Edgar, who definitely just. I mean, you got to say Conor is there because he's been still moving his way up.
He's got that, meteoric rise, crowd favorite. People are going to pay him money to watch him fight.
And he did take out Dustin Poirier. I'd still like to see Dustin Poirier fight in that top 5 as well. And then you got Ricardo Lamas, right? Who's still in the running.
Hold, please.
Well, I mean, I'm asking you guys. Who do you think?
I'd have to see the rankings. I don't know. I honestly can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Okay, right there. So you got Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, Ricardo Lamas, Cub Swanson, Conor McGregor. Top 5 and right Dustin there. Poirier is number 6. Dennis Bermudez, obviously in his loss to Lamas, looked a little,
lackluster.
Little lackluster, yeah. Anybody else in that top 15, I wouldn't even consider in there. But those top 5 guys. I mean, you got Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, Ricardo Lamas, Cub Swanson obviously has moved down, and Conor McGregor. And I still think Dustin Poirier. Even though Conor McGregor put him away relatively quick, we didn't get to see all of Dustin Poirier that we.
You're going to see somebody's going to fight Chad Mendez for a shot at Aldo.
You don't think? Well, that's the thing is they were saying already that Cub Swanson would get a title shot if he beat Frankie Edgar. They're saying Conor McGregor already has a title shot as long as he also wins against Dennis Sever. Like, he's currently sitting on one, but he's going to take a side fight because he needs money or because he wants the money.
But now that Frankie Edgar did what he did, now it's kind of like, okay, well, he needs to come in that door too, is what you're saying.
But they were saying that there's a possibility Frankie Edgar could get that immediate title shot. That's what I'm saying. Do you think Conor McGregor should overshoot Frankie after Frankie's performance for a title shot, or does he, by either one way, does he have to win spectacularly? Or does he have to just win?
I don't know, because
I think because Frankie Edgar's performance blocks Conor McGregor from a title shot immediately. I think no matter what after that, there's no way unless they need Jose Aldo to fight now. Mm-hmm. Then I don't think there's any way that you can have Conor McGregor and Frankie Edgar not fight each other for the actual title shot. I think that has to happen.
Unless you want to, like you said, UFC's about the money. They're going to be like, all right, we're going to give one to Frankie, then we're going to wait, and then we're going to give one to Conor, and then we're going to wait.
Or like you say, just the fashion of the win. If you take the way that Conor's been winning,
yes,
you know, it's been decisively, it's been quick, then I'd understand that that's why you're going to give him the title shot ahead
immediately.
of McGregor.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even though Edgar won decisively, he didn't get it done. It went all 5 rounds.
It's also possible, too, that Conor McGregor
No,
comes
he
in.
finished.
I know, with 4 seconds left because he didn't want a broken jaw.
It's also possible that Conor McGregor comes in and gets a 30-second knockout, takes no damage, and he's ready for a fight immediately, whereas Frankie Edgar went all 5 rounds and is probably on a medical suspension for 3 months.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and we've already seen Jose Aldo against Frankie Edgar, too. I mean, we've already seen that fight happen. Frankie Edgar obviously lost that fight. It was a very, very good fight.
Yeah. There's a lot of variables, man, but ultimately, I think Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar is probably where it's going to be at, unless they have to get Aldo on the books sometime soon.
I think all three. I think Aldo, Mendez, and Edgar are going to take McGregor to the ground.
I'm very interested to see an actual wrestler go up against Conor McGregor. I mean, that's been the biggest question. And, they're saying they're handpicking opponents for him, or he's handpicking his own opponents, or whatever's going on. I don't know if any of that's necessarily true, but we definitely haven't seen it before. We haven't seen it. So,
and again, there's another reason that maybe we want to see the McGregor fight first. We want to see two people try to fight.
I mean, that was the thing, is that we've heard this with multiple champions before. I mean, even with Aldo, well, he hasn't gone against this type of guy. And then he eventually does and still dominates. Or, same thing with Anderson. He hasn't gone against this type of guy. This guy's got the jiu-jitsu to finally take Anderson down. This guy's got the wrestling to take Anderson.
Which is what we're saying about Ronda Rousey also.
That's going to say.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the same thing with Ronda Rousey. This is the wrestler. We're going to sell you the Olympic wrestler. Okay, well, this is the girl that's got the judo. This is the girl that's got the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This is the girl nobody's been able to do it. So.
But it'd be nice to see his wrestling tested.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, eventually it has to happen to appease the fans, but we'll see what happens.
Well, the money way to go is feeding each of them one at a time to the champion. But you also got to look at what the fans want too. So we'll see what happens there.
So your next fight isn't until next Saturday. That is the big, pretty much end of the year card. 2 championships on the line. You got
can't wait for that.
Gonna have Robbie Lawler going up against Johnny Hendricks. 2.
God, I hope it's good.
For the belt. And then you also have Anthony Pettis going against Gilbert Melendez. Anthony Pettis recently saying he does not see it going out of the first round.
It's interesting that they're going to have the coaches fight before the season's over.
True. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
What if we got a 2-hour tough next week?
Because, that finale's not till the 12th. Yeah, 12th would be the following week.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
So that's it. Wraps it up.
That is what we got today.
All right. Well, that's a post-Thanksgiving show for you. Not a lot happening because everybody's busy eating and suffering from.
I did like the UFC's
Instagram.
I don't know if I think I retweeted it, but they posted a picture. It was like a tomato, like piece of lettuce, and a tiny piece of turkey. Like it was like just on a huge plate, and it's like all the fighters getting ready for UFC 181 weigh-ins, Thanksgiving meals.
Nice. All right, so thanks for listening. Tell your friends, of course, we are Split Decision. We are the MMA podcast that you should be listening to. So get us on your Spreaker, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Get us on the iTunes. Subscribe there. Get us on our website, splitdecisionmma.com. You can also find us on Facebook, which is Split Decision MMA Podcast. Give us a like there. SD_MMA on Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to help us out a little bit, show some love to AmericanaMMA.org for all your fight apparel needs. And, of course, from the Ruloff Family Inc. studio, it is Bueller and Dodge saying have a good night. Let's get fights.